So I'm finally telling the story of how another man told me that my wife was pregnant. This is a true story. He was like, "Your wife is pregnant." And I was like, "Who? Who are you talking about?" He was like, "You." And I was like, "Me? You talking about me as in D? Me as in DJ? You telling me my wife is pregnant? By who?" So let's dive into it from the beginning. This was in November of 2018. My wife, her dad is actually a pastor. You gotta watch out for those PKs, man. So let's get into it, man. So my father-in-law got invited to go to this men's conference, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to come with me?" So I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't have nothing else to do. I ain't never been to one, so I feel like it'd be a good experience to go to. So we decided we're gonna go to the men's conference. We rode up there together. We got there. We were in the middle of nowhere. Didn't have no service, and then we walk in, and we the only two black people. The only two black people. Everybody else there was of a different ethnicity, and they all spoke Spanish. So it was just us two there. Everybody was speaking Spanish. We were just sitting there looking around like, okay, let's just go into it with the open mind. So we're going through the itinerary, and we get to a part where where someone goes up to speak. Again, he's speaking only Spanish, and there's somebody sitting beside us who speaks both Spanish and English, and he's actually translating to me and my father-in-law what's being said. So the man turns and he looks at me and he says, "Your princess is on the way." And I'm like, "My princess is on the way?" I was like, what does that mean? I was like, "I have my wife," and I was like, "That wouldn't necessarily be my princess because she's my wife, so that would be my queen." And then he kept talking and he said, "Your wife is pregnant or will be pregnant very soon." I said, "Oh, snap." I'm like, "Oh, snap," because me and my wife not telling anybody, only speaking to God alone, fasting and praying and saying, "God, please, we want to have a baby. We want you to be in this process, and we basically need you to make everything happen in your way." So with only us telling God that, not telling any outside family members, not telling anybody anything but God, for him to sit there and look at me and say, "Your wife is pregnant or will be pregnant very soon," I'm like, whoa, like it just literally blew my mind. But what he said after that blew my mind even more. This man looked at me. He don't know me. I ain't never seen this man before in my life. He ain't never seen me. He ain't never met me. Again, I only talk to my wife and God about this. She only talked to me and God about this. We're the only people that know. So the only person that could have told him was God himself. So this part is just crazy because he was like, "I know you wanted a boy first, and anybody who knows me knows that I've always said I want all boys." He said, "I know you wanted a boy first, but you're gonna have a girl, but it won't even matter to you because you're just gonna be happy that she's here." What? How do you know this stuff? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Besides that, God told him to tell me everything that he told me. So this was on the first night of the conference, and my mind is just blown. Like everything is being translated to me, and I'm just like, how is this happening right now? So the conference was for 2 days. So the next day we go back home, and I go and I tell my wife, and I'm just like, "He said that you pregnant." And we went and we took a test, and guess what? That thing came back negative. So I was like, okay, well, he did say it could be or it would be very soon. So I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna give it time. I believe God, and I believe that his word is true, and I know that we didn't tell anybody else about this. So it just lined up to where I was like, "This is gonna happen, I just don't know when." But though we took like 2, 3 different tests, they all came back negative. So I was like, okay, cool. So I had to go on a work trip uh, later that week. We had to fly out to Florida for some type of conference or whatever. So then I was gone. I was thinking about it the whole time. And then once I got back, me and my wife decided we were going to go out for that day. We had went out and did some like shopping, did some other things because it was in November. It was getting around that Christmas time. So we was like, okay, let's just go ahead and go shopping, go do something. And while we was out, something was like, "Tell her to take a test." So I was like, "We already took a test just a week ago and it was negative. Like, what's going to change that quick, but something just kept telling me, tell her to take a test, tell her to take a test. So when we got home, we took a test, and here's our reaction. I got the video because I was recording everything. So here is our reaction of what happened after she took that test that day. But I was shaking the door real hard because I was trying to get it open, so I was excited. But then, yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh. What in the world? Babe. Oh my gosh. Okay. We are on our way to get more pregnancy tests. This is insane. DJ, how do you feel right now?
Excited.
Alright, so on the third one.
About to be a daddy. My teeth look good. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
2 out of 2.
It's crazy.
We about to have a baby. It was prophesied to me last Saturday that my wife was pregnant or will be pregnant very soon, and not even a week later we taking the test and that's what it say.
I don't even know how to feel. Like, I'm so happy. Literally, this is crazy.
Very crazy.
Baby Iris. Iris. I love that name, babe.
Me too. If it's a girl, which it probably will
Yeah.
be. But now, I'm not even gonna lie, this is part of the story where it kind of got a little scary. So we go for her 40-week checkup on the dot. It was the day that my daughter was supposed to be born. We go to the OBGYN, and while we're there, they noticed something's a little off. And they asked my wife, they're like, do you feel like your daughter is like moving how she normally moves? And the mom was like, well, and she was like, well, you know, now that you say it, I haven't felt her move as much today as normal. So then she went and they put her on some type of machine to like monitor the kicks, and then we could see on the nurse's face that something was going on. So she ran out the room and went and got the doctor, and the doctor came in and looked at everything, and she was like, you need to get to the emergency room right now. So we were like, oh snap, like we looking at each other like, what in the freak is going on? Like, I don't understand. And they were like, you don't have time to wait for an ambulance to come. You need to go get in the car. You need to go right to the hospital right now. We'll tell them you're on the way. So we did what they said. We hopped in the car, ran, drove fast over to the hospital, and I'm sitting there calling people on the way. I'm like, because her mom wanted to be there and my mom wanted to be there. So I called them on the way, and I'm like, hey, they told us to get to the hospital right now, get to the emergency room right now. And I was like, y'all need to come as soon as y'all can. So boom, we get to the hospital, they take us up to the room or whatever, and then they put her back on a monitor, and they're telling her that basically that my daughter's heart rate is dropping, like it's going in and out, like it'll beat normally and then it'll just drop, beat normally and then it'll just drop. So they told her, they said, if it drops one more time, we're gonna have to take her right now. We're gonna have to go into an emergency C-section. So if you know my wife, she is dramatic. She had a right to be, but she is like dramatic. So in that moment, she's just boo-hoo crying, and I'm like what's going on? Like it's just, everything is just a blur going on in my mind. Like I'm having real like thoughts. I'm like, what's gonna happen? Is she gonna be okay? Is the baby gonna be okay? I'm sitting here like just here, like trying to keep her calm and everything, trying to make sure everything, just doing basically what I could do in that moment. So the heart rate drops again, boom, they take her. She's carted off to the back, and I was telling her like everything's gonna be okay. like y'all are both gonna be fine. And then so after they roll her out, the heart rate drops and they roll her out. So I go back in the room and I'm just standing there because they won't let me go back there because it's an emergency thing. She has to get put to sleep and everything. So I'm just like, man, I just started talking to God. I'm like, God, you told me that I was going to have this baby. You told me that I was going to have a great family. I was just reminding him of his promises. I was reminding him of everything that he told to me. I was reminding him that he was a God that could not lie. He could not go back on his word because that's not who he is. And I was just telling him, I was like, God, like, I know that everything's going to be fine. I'm just praying to you and asking you to please be with them in this emergency room. And thank you, God. God is just so good, so amazing. 2 hours later, I was able to meet my baby girl. My wife was fine. She made it through. My daughter made it through. It's just amazing to see God work from the very beginning all the way until the end. I'm just thankful. I can't thank him enough for saving both of them, for my daughter actually being born. And it was the craziest thing. Like, she actually had a blood clot in her umbilical cord, and that's what was making it hard for her to be able to breathe during that time. The doctor said they had never seen that in their life, and they probably never would as long as they continue to deliver babies. They said the chance of that happening with a blood clot in the umbilical cord is like the chance of being struck by lightning. Like, it's super rare, super uncommon that something like that happens, but it happened, and it just goes to show. The man told me, he said, you're gonna have a daughter and you're gonna just be happy that she's here. You can't, I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. You can't tell me that God didn't orchestrate that all the way through. You can't tell me that Jesus Christ is not real. Like, nobody could tell me anything different. You don't have to believe, but I believe because I've seen the work that he's done in my life. I've seen how he orchestrated the whole entire story, the whole entire process for my daughter to be here. And here we are. Come here. Here we are, 4 years later. My baby, she's strong, she's healthy, she's beautiful, she's smart, and we're just extremely blessed to be in this position, to be able to share this story with everyone. I've never seen that man again. I'm not even sure what his name is, but I thank him for being obedient to God. I thank him for telling me what he told me and for strengthening my faith even more. So, you got anything you want to say? Go ahead.
I love my dad, and he sees everything that I get, and he is so handsome.
Oh, thank you, baby. I love you, girl. While you're here, make sure to check out my other videos. Look at the camera. But that is our story, our full story, and we out. Peace and love, BTB.